How about a sit? Meh, or is that, how am I saying it right? Yes.
Nah.
Nah. Nah is Greek for yes. This is Ray, I'm David, and this is Ray's Roadmap to Success. So yes, you did very, very good. Ray's a Corona dog, so she's a little bit skittish around people. So one of the first things we talked about was consent. So if I want to pet a dog, I reach, and she gave me consent, and right there she pulled her consent away. So what I like to do is stop here, and if the dog engages with me, then I can reach to start to try to pet them, and if they turn their head to the side, lower their head and back away, or they don't come to me, that's your indication you've lost my permission. And the more that I respect that, the more confident she's going to be. She stayed away from me for about the first hour, except for to come and get treats, but after a while she came and laid down next to me because I proved that I was listening to what she was saying. So when you're meeting people out and about, I would have treats with you in your treat pouch, have some of the steward's treat. And so, can I pet your dog? She's a Corona dog. She's a little bit nervous. We'd love to have you if you can. You want to give her a treat? I'd love to give her a treat. Yep, and we also, and we just like to, after you give her a treat, just hold your hand in front of her and see if she'll touch. If she does, then you can go ahead and try and pet her. And then afterwards, give them another treat to give her another one so that she starts to see that as a good thing. The hand targeting that I showed you, one of the first things we showed you, is really helpful because it teaches and conditions her to come and touch people's hands. And it allows her to get close to them without being too close. And so it's a good thing for you guys to do with guests. So remember, go through your phone. Just try to do it like 7 or 10 days in a row. Just find a different person. Just say, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. During Corona, we got this dog. She's a little bit shy around new people. We could. You're always great with dogs, and we miss seeing you. Why don't you come by? We'll have a 6-pack and some charcuterie, or however that word is, I can't say. And we'll have wine and cheese or whatever, and you can help us with the dog a little bit. And then you can give them some instructions ahead. And when you come in, just ignore her. Don't pet her. Don't try to look at her. When she comes to you, hold out a treat and say, nah, and then give her the treat and let her walk away without trying to pet her and wait, and then you can eventually ask for that consent. And if you can do that every day, and try to keep it like a 20 or 30 minute visit, ideally you want to keep it shorter, and try to meet outside. So when you get here, text us, and then we'll bring Ray out and we'll go for a little mini walk together. Give them a bunch of treats. Meeting outside, there's an infinite number of escape routes, there's distractions. Just make sure they're not like weed eating, or there's not a truck beeping or a child screaming or something like that. If that's the case, walk further away, have them meet you somewhere else. But then to go for a little bit of a mini walk and then come inside, and then you can practice that hand targeting game that we did. So you guys just do it yourselves a couple times, and maybe you're sitting there and you're sitting where you are now, and then have your guest there, and she's going here and here, and after she does it a couple times, she's warmed up, and then have your guest do a little bit of it. Remember, you're chopping with an empty hand. I have a video on that if you forget how to do that. And then she's coming over, touching your guest's hand and getting a treat, and then she goes to the next person, doesn't think about it. Let me see. We also went over marker words. I think you guys understand that, but remember saying net or use that clicker. You don't have to do the thing that we went around loading. You've already done that. So just remember, the instant she does the action, we either say net or we click, and then it's followed by a treat within 2 seconds. And anything that happens between your click or the marker sound and the reward is what she's being rewarded for. So if you click when she sits down, and then somebody knocks something out, or she, like, let's say, farts, and then you give her the treat, she thinks the fart is actually what, so make sure you're not doing anything like that. So try to be very close to her and get that treat in her mouth right away. Let me see. We also went over, what else? We went over, this is a new layout for me, so I'm a little bit off my game. We also went over, marker, or petting with a purpose and passive training. So petting with a purpose, if you want to pet your dog, or if Ray wants you to pet her. If she's nudging you, you tell her to sit one time. If she sits, we pet her here, 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 or here, as much as we want. But as soon as she sits, we're going to say nah, and then pet her. And so that she understands that sitting is what's getting me that pet. And then we're using the watchword of paycheck. If we suspect someone's petting without a purpose, we say paycheck. That person stops petting, even if they did it right, tells her to sit. She sits, they say net, and pet her under the chin. Say, actually, I asked her to sit when you flushed the toilet, she got up, but thank you, I do forget to pet without a purpose. And this is even if you would like to pet her. And remember, if she doesn't sit, after the first time you say it, playing hard to get is a great way to motivate a dog. The next time she's more motivated to do it. That'll increase her respect for you, boost her confidence, help her practice stuff, and make your pets more valuable. Also use the passive training, the celebrating. So say celebrate if Ray walks up to me and somebody says celebrate, I just say net and pet her as soon as I can. So we're going to reward her for the things that she does that we like: sitting, eye contact, looks, or I guess that was the same thing, going to her dog bed, laying down, dropping a ball, grabbing a ball, disengaging, engaging. So all the stuff that we kind of went over, but try to be mindful of the stuff that she does. When my dogs drink water, I clicked, And after a while, when they're going over there, I would say agua, and then they would drink water, and then I would click afterward and give them a treat. Now I can tell my dogs to drink water. I've also taught them to stretch this way. Every time they stretch, I would say neh, well, I use a different word, and then pet, and now I can say, and then eventually you sneak that command cue in early, and you know the dog's about to stretch, you say stretch, and they go, puts their butt in the air, shakes their butt, and you say neh, and then give them a treat. Now I talked about marker words. Now a marker word happens the instant the dog does the action, unless the action takes some duration. So for example, for potty training, at first when a puppy's pottying, I would say good or whatever the marker word is, or click as soon as they start pottying and give them a treat. But after a while, I would let them urinate and complete urinating, then click, and then give them a treat. So it's a lengthy thing. We also went in the bedroom and we practiced leaving the room a little bit. It's a little teaser of the relaxation protocol. So we put her in a sit. Remember, if she doesn't want to sit or take a treat, it's not being disobedient. If there's stressful stuff going on, that's her indicator. So don't ask for it multiple times. Don't be mad and just try to push her into a sit. Move away from whatever the thing is so she feels more comfortable. Then try to ask for a sit. But use the sit as an indicator and don't ever consider it like she's being disobedient. So for the bedroom, put her in there, say sit, and as soon as she sits, say neh, give her a treat, then wait 5 seconds, give her a treat, wait 10 seconds, give her a treat, take one step back, come back right away, say neh, give her the treat, and then maybe wait 5 seconds again. So you vary it up, but eventually 2 steps, 3 steps. Remember, when you get to the point where you're moving out of her line of sight, the first time you move out of sight, it should be like coming back right away. So she's only out of sight for a half a second, and then you come back to her, and each time you come back to her, say your marker word, then give her the treat. So one of the guardians was saying the marker word as she delivered the treat. That's a very common thing, but we want to say the marker word, and then the treat is coming after it. So try not to even don't be like, nah, when you're reaching for it. So, nah, then deliver the treat. And so practice that one and try to practice multiple times in short, remember keep practice sessions shorter than 3 minutes and always end on a positive one. And try to do it multiple times throughout the day so that every once in a while it's just, oh, you go in the room and you just do this walk away thing and I get more and more treats. I'm happy to do that. And she's practicing being alone. Eventually it gets to the point where you tell her to go in there and you come in, you're able to come and sit on the couch and then lengthen it. Then eventually you turn the TV on. Some people like to do this where you actually have a camera so you can actually watch your dog in there when she can't see you because you come around the corner, she sees you. Sometimes she'll come to you. So that way you can see, does she get up? Remember, anytime the dog fails, or I don't want to say fails, but it doesn't do what we want, then we got a little greedy. We want to back up a step or a quarter step or a half step or several steps, go to whatever previous level of success that you were at, and practice there a couple times, and then try to work your way back up. And remember, there's going to be ebbs and flows. There'll be off days. Sometimes we have bad hair days. Dogs have days where they're off their game. That's okay. So it's just a gradual, consistent thing as opposed to just trying to cram it all together at once. So remember, keep it shorter than 3 minutes and always end on a positive. Good repetition. Be like George Costanza. I'm out! As soon as you get a laugh. So basically, that's petting with a purpose. Capturing or celebrating is, like I said, really important because the more that we reward her for the things that she wants, the more confident she is because she can do the things to contribute to our group. And dogs want to contribute. And so if we're rewarding her for those things as opposed to giving her attention for the bad things, that's going to really help her motivate her to do the things we want. Now, I also use when the dog's doing something I don't want, I use what's called a positive interrupter. A lot of people say the dog's name. When I was younger, I thought my name was Jesus Christ because my dad said that to me all the time because I was always in trouble. So for the dog's name, after a while, I was like, oh, you said my name. Am I in trouble? I'm not going to come to you because then you usually get to take something away from me. So instead, what I like to use, and we'll see if she's half asleep right now, but we'll see if I can use it. I go, she just lifted her head and looked up. And then I can go like this. Remember, the lower you go before it's for the dog, she comes over to me, I say, neh, and then she gets the treat. So the positive interrupter, if she's doing something you don't want, you make that kissing sound and then lower the treat. Show her you have a treat, or you have something fun going on and she comes over to do that, you redirect her away from it without making the forbidden fruit. Remember, any attention is validating. So if I steal your slippers, you come and chase me, that's a fun game. So instead, what we're going to do is just make the kissing sound, then show her I have a good game over here. She comes over to me, we redirect her. She also likes to move away when we pull out the harness. So remember, I showed you that CER exercise. When you do that, you have your, the leash. The leash in one hand bunched up so it's not flopping all over the place. And then treats in this hand. And then I'm going to show her it. She looks at it. I say, nah. And then I give her a treat. And eventually, I do that 3 or 4 times. And then I would reach underneath, say, nah, and give her the treat. And I'm sorry, I'll scooch down a little bit. And the idea is we make putting the leash on a good positive thing. And remember, don't say, you want to go for a walk, walkie, walkie, walkie. Remember, excited and happy are not necessarily the same thing. So do practice leashing up there, over here in your sunroom. So she's just used to doing this, and then you can sneak in that word like, that's okay. There you go, I had to release it. But you can sneak in that word like uniform. So uniform, so once you get to the point where you can attach it, say uniform, attach, treat. And then take it off and go somewhere else and repeat it and just make it into a game. And do this for anything that she has problems with. Make it into a game. There's a company called Gamify Your, or it has a program called Gamify Your Training. But we don't like work, we like playing. So they say you shouldn't practice guitar, you should play guitar. So same sort of thing for your dog. And try to make it, a fun thing. If your dog struggles, and make it an easier version of it, and then try to do something that your dog really likes doing afterwards as well. That's a nice reward. We also talked about the importance of rules. The guardians here have more rules than about 90% of my clients, but we could probably have another one: not having the dog on the carpet when we're eating food, not being allowed in the L in the kitchen when we're eating. But there could be other things like premax. So remember, premax, less desirable behavior earns me more desirable behavior. Go to the door, sit. As soon as she sits, we open the door. If she doesn't sit, I drop the leash and go sit back down and watch some TV. And so sometimes doing these things without intending to go for a walk can help, because I gotta take you for a quick walk, and then I can come back and I gotta do X, Y, and Z. So it's a commercial break. My partner went to the bathroom, so let's go to the door, tell the dog to sit, it sits, give it a treat, open the door, close it, and then go back and sit back down. When you're coming back from your walks, have her sit outside your door like you did when you came in, then grab a treat, open your door, and then say whatever the Greek word for palace is, or whatever it is, and then say that word, and then throw the treat in. Then she runs in and she says the word. So eventually you create a command cue to go inside. Remember not to use the command cue over and over again. If you say it a couple of times and she doesn't do it, you can try using a high-pitched voice, but that kind of creates a little excitement. And then you can try to use a lure with lowering your hand. But after 2 or 3 times she doesn't do it, that's probably an indication we need to practice that activity again and work our way up to a more realistic life-like situation. We want to practice in the easiest, most generic situation possible and gradually raise that level of reality until we get to the part where she can sit while the marching band walks right by, and I've been conditioned to sit, because after the marching band leaves, I get a treat. We also went over, exercise. Tug of war is a great way to burn energy. Fetch is a great way to burn energy. Remember, for fetch, don't take things away from her. Pull out a treat, hold it against her nose. When she drops it, say net, pop the treat in her mouth, and don't pick it up. And when you do that enough and you start going towards the treat, you know she's going to spit it out, then you say, drop. And she drops it, you just put the treat in her mouth and say the word. And eventually, and if you do that with low value items, you can do it with higher value items as well. So let me see. Sniffing on walks we talked about already. If she doesn't sniff a lot, she wasn't sniffing as much as I'd like to see her sniff, and she might be a little overwhelmed. So sometimes taking her, like you mentioned, somewhere else is helpful, because it's not so, you have a busy enablement complex. But also sometimes going ahead of time and spiking the punch helps. Dogs like cheese. As long as she's not lactose intolerant. I like shredded Swiss cheese, so I might go out ahead of time. That's harder for you because another dog might cram and gab it. So maybe one of you goes ahead, and you go over here with the grass and sprinkle it in the grass, and then the person with the handler walks over to, and then she sniffs the ground and gets that. If you've ever I'll use the positive reinforcement version. If I'm ever in a restaurant and find a $100 bill in the lobby behind a little gum machine, every time I go in the restaurant, I'm looking at that same spot to see if that $100 bill's there. So he leaves cheese here. Next time she's going to go there, see if the cheese is there. But now we put the cheese in a different place. So after a while, she's sniffing the ground looking for that cheese. Remember, sniffing is very draining of energy. So I would like you to Google scent games and also practice that cookie in the corner. So that was one where we threw one treat. You said, what did you say? Treasure? Treasure. And throw a treat, and then you mark it when she gets it. But remember, marking when she gets the treat is an unusual thing. It's only for that activity. The rest of the time, we mark the activity, or the action, then we give a reward afterwards. But eventually, it gets to the point where you can hide treats. You can say treasure, and she goes and uses her nose. It's a great way to burn energy. Lick mats and chewing release endorphins. So when you have guests come over, remember, exercising her ahead of time can set her up for success. Just she has 10 minutes to rest before the guests come over, and then giving her an Omega Turkey Trainer treat ball or a Omega Paw, tricky train or treat ball, excuse me, or a puzzle or a lick mat or a Kong filled with peanut butter. So now we're doing something that makes her feel good while the stressful thing is going over. But if she's stressed, let her move away. And that's why, like I talked about at the beginning of this video, meeting people outside I think will set her up for success. But you can exercise her for it first, and that'll set her up as well. Let me see, what else do we like to do? I guess that's about it. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things you do, mental stimulation. Like I said, training is great. Also, dogs that don't know a lot of cues, I didn't ask how many cues or commands the dog has, but dogs that know about 10 to 15 cues seem to reach a certain level of confidence. It also gives you a lot of different ways of redirecting the dog's attention. So I'd like you to see if you guys maybe each week try to teach her a new trick or cue, and all week long, you want to go outside, bang, you're dead. You want to go, your food, bang, you're dead. You want to play fetch, bang, you're dead. At the end of the week, you say, you want it? And she's, bang, I'm dead. And then next week, you teach her to roll over. Maybe and you teach one week, and then you teach the next week, so you alternate back and forth. If you have a mentor, some of them are dirtbags, but most of the time, mentors are a good person that helps you on your life's journey, and you come back to them as a trusted confidant. So if you have a special teacher, you have a special place of reverence for them in your heart, you're already her guardians, but if you're also associated with her learning these things, that boosts her confidence and makes her feel a little bit more confident and secure with you. And it gives you those abilities to redirect her attention. So practice, try to come up with some things, and like I said, if you can't find it, message me, I'm happy to send you links. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you want me to go over. Don't leave the food out. We already talked about that, but you know.
And you have engage and disengage videos on your website?
This video that we shot is going to be on this post. And so, yeah, so that one I don't want to talk about too much because it's in that video. But if you got questions on that, let me know. And shooting videos, a little stuff will help. Just try to keep it a sideways orientation like this film is here. And text it to me. Are you guys Apple or are you Android?
Apple.
Okay, great. You can text directly. If it's Android, you have to go Facebook Messenger with us. Now, what I'm going to do, if you have any questions or problems, please text me or call me. I can't help you if you don't let me know. Anything else you want to cover? Like I said, no time limit. So let me know if you have any other questions or problems. I'm probably going to, as soon as I finish filming this, like, shoot, I should have said this. That's life. So just text me if you have any questions or problems. Miss Ray, would you like to come over here and get another treat? Yeah. Well, this is my friend Ray. Can you see her in the shot? Come here, sweetheart. Yes. Well, that's the other marker word I used. This is Ray, and this is Ray's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.